Is that Rock Valley?
Yep.
That looks like Rock Valley. Is that Rock Valley, guys?
Hmm.
That
was Rock Valley, that video.
Yeah,
Ron,
that last one was.
Ron, where's this video from you sent me?
That looks like Wisner there.
White Texas.
Nope, that could be White.
Yeah.
Okay. Here we go.
Looks like Ellen may be moving that leader cone a little bit there.
Gentlemen, welcome to Outlawed Live with Ron Stone. We have the man back in the corner. So I pointed you over here, Ron. Yeah, there's Ron Stone.
Yep.
Ron, now you pointed Alan Andrews below you. Okay,
What's
Alan,
up,
now
Alan?
Alan, you got to point at Josh.
It's all backwards, Alan. Just point somewhere and you'll get it right.
I see that. Going the wrong direction. Wouldn't be the first time.
Well, welcome everybody. Every Tuesday night we get together, us band of hooligans, and Ron's really been focusing on the young guns. And we have a legend, and we also talked about the legends of the Outlaw Truck and Tractor Pulling Association. Mark Ulmer, we had him on a few weeks ago, and now we have Alan Andrews with us tonight. Dakota Deer, Josh and I were talking to him briefly before. 5-time Outlaw points champion, right, Josh? 3 times in a row, you said?
5 times. First one in 98, then again in 2013, and then 17, 18, and 19 consecutively. So quite an accomplishment in itself right there.
Also a National Farm Machinery Show champion as well in 2018. So, Alan, that's a hell of a resume, my man. That is a heck of a resume. This is where we let Ron take over. And, guys, I'm going to hide in the background. I got friends coming over for Christmas. Alan, thank you for coming on tonight. Ron, Josh, I'll yak at you guys later.
Thanks, Jason.
Appreciate it. Alan, how are you tonight?
I'm doing fine.
Are you in the office there?
I'm in my house. That's kind of my office behind me, yeah.
Gotcha. Where's the trophy room there, Alan?
It's out in the shop. We lined all the walls. We built a shop back in 2012 in an office, and we just put some shelving up, and I don't know, it's full. Then we got a whole bunch downstairs we still ain't got room for. So got a few outside the shop. The big ones from Wisner and Rock Valley, and then you got back in the day, we got them outside.
Okay. Well, Alan, we got you on here. We got this Legend series we're starting, and you, without a doubt, to qualify as a legend with the Outlaws. When did you start with the Outlaws? When did you start pulling? Let's start there. When the seed was first planted, when you first caught the bug.
Well, we was going to 4-H back in the day, back in the 70s, and they had local pulling there. 4-H guys always brought the tractors to town, and my dad had a G1000 Vista Minneapolis. And I drove it up to the fair, and we pulled the 10,000-pound no-turbo class with it. And we ended up coming out on top that day, and I think that's when it kind of got stuck. But then I had to go to school for about 4 years to get through high school, and then we started pulling farm stock with the hometown 40, or we had a 4440 back then with a cab on it. We bopped around the, local farms, pulls, county fairs, got over the Minnow area with the Almers. We pulled over there at a dirt road, I think. And then we kept going, and we pulled with, I had a friend that pulled with South Dakota at a tractor pulling association at one time. And he had an international, and I helped him win a championship there. And the guy was an usher at my wedding, and he burned his tractor up that day in '85. And so we borrowed my 4640 and finished discing that spring in April. We got married in April. And, in '89, the crank on the 4440 went bad. So my dad traded off for a 4650 front wheel assist. Well, that's not a very good pulling tractor. So he gave me his 1066, I think it was, or 12, whatever it was. It was 1466, whatever it was. I pulled that actually in the South Dakota State, I think it was 12,000-pound class out of the field. And I won with the International 1066, if you believe that. Or 14, whatever it was.
So you actually drove a red tractor at one point then?
I drove it for a whole year. Yeah, I did.
Okay.
We try to block that off a little, but yeah, we we were in 1 year.
That's all right. We like those red tractors here with the Outlaws. So.
Yeah.
So now going back here, you said you had 4 years high school to complete after you caught the bug. Now, does that mean you started in the 8th grade pulling?
I started my freshman summer.
Freshman after your freshman year or before?
Right before.
Okay.
Yep.
So right after you get out of the 8th grade.
Between the freshman and sophomore year was the last time I actually went to the pulling track competitively until after. Basically, we pulled it off and on during the summer, but too young yet. Only 14. You start in FFA, 4-H. I'm sorry. In 4-H, you had to be 14 to drive, and then you have your parents' permission. And then, I got to school. We did some sports, and and the regular high school stuff. And after that, we started pulling back out on the circuit. I guess county fairs and local pulls.
Now, who did you know that was in the pulling? Was it a family member or?
No, not really. My brother pulled a little with me, but my dad never did pull. Back in the 70s, I had a friend named Alan Mings. He used to pull a 40-20 or 40-10 and come by once in a while, pick Dad up and take off with it, and he would let me go. I was too little. And that's kind of where I got started back in the 70s, I wanted to go watch him pull, and we actually went down to Hinton, Iowa, and it was a Northwest National pull. And that's where I kind of fell in love with it down on Hinton, sitting on the side berm down there, watching him down the track.
Huh. So tell us how you settled into the super farm class. How did that come about?
Well, when we got done with the International, I went and bought matter of fact, the same tractor run today. It's a 4430 out of a junkyard. And we started pulling around home and put a bigger turbo on, and a pump, all that stuff. And we
about what year are we talking?
90 and 91. We pulled 90, 91. 92, we joined the Bush Association. We pulled down there we still pull there occasionally. But kind of got my feet wet there, pulled down there for years. I went 3.5 years before I ever won a tractor pull. That seemed like a long time to me, but finally got one. And then about 95 era, a friend of mine, Eddie Hop, and got talking. We started talking to Dennis Goodwin about joining the Iowa, for a super farm class. And back then we were called Pro Stocks at the Nebraska Bushel level. That was a Pro Stock tractor to them. Okay. And we got together with Ken Lamping, regional director, and Dennis Goodwin, and then some guys out of Minnesota. And that's how Super Farm class actually became a Super Farm class. Was 995, and there was 5 of us that pulled Iowa. We pulled 2 classes. We pulled a 9 to 10,000 pound. It stayed like that until at 98. 97, I didn't have a tractor. I was going to go pro stock. Back in 95 and 6, I actually put a pro stock Charger on. And we changed the turbo, the injectors, and changed the pump, and all that in between tractor pulls. We go tractor pulling.
Right.
We competed at. We won Spencer. Not Spencer. Yeah, Spencer. We won Spencer one year, the pro stock. Going to go to Bowling Green. Burned a valve out. Didn't get to go. 97. I was gonna build an overhead cam motor. Doug Roberts going to help me do that. Matter of fact, it still sits on the bench at the shop. I never did have a tractor in 97.
Okay.
And then in 98, we started pulling the Outlaws, and that was my first championship in 98. We went down to Whitewright, Texas that year. I remember that. Then 97, 98, 2000, and then just kind of kept going. We just kept pulling.
So when you first started Super Farm, how much has that changed? I mean, just compare horsepower then to now.
Oh, back then, I don't think we had much over 800, 6, 7, 800. It wasn't a lot. You were a glorified farm puller, basically. Had a 13 millimeter pump on by then, 466 motor, 3LM 466 Charger. And then in 95, I got a motor from Riverside, a 558. And we picked up some power there. That jumped us up a little higher. And somewhere around, I don't know, 99, 2000, somewhere we finally hit 1,000 horsepower on the dyno. And now we're a little bit higher than that. So
just a little bit.
Yeah, a little bit.
We won't ask for any secrets on here, Alan. We'll just
there ain't
any.
There ain't
Throw
no
in some of that Southern language, just a smidge over 1,000, right?
Yeah, a little bit.
So you said you started around 800 in Super Farm. I mean, that's what the 3200s are making close to that now. The 3200 class we have now. So
yeah, they're basically running a step above us turbo wise. If you go back in the day and compare them, they had the 3L 466. Now they went to another turbo, a little bit bigger, I think. I was in the meeting when they voted in, but I knew what they're talking about, but I'd never seen one. And they weren't allowed to run. They don't want water. We ran water back then.
Okay.
So it was somewhere around that 800 area. But times have changed. I mean, they got better pumps than we had. There's a lot of things that changed in all them years.
Oh, sure.
That they allow them to get there.
So you're a 5-time Outlaw champ, Alan, and 3 of those were consecutive. What's your secret?
Riverside.
Riverside.
No.
How much Riverside paying you, Alan?
None. No, I've been doing Riverside since '95, and then we went away for a while and bopped around different shops, and then went back to them, and they build both basically my bottom end, block down. All the rest is ours, and you can buy a pump from anybody. That's pretty good nowadays. Pretty much name them Hearts, Fair Valley, Weimers. There's all kinds of pumps that are all pretty comparable nowadays.
Right.
And just run to a combination that worked during them years. The little out of the box deal, we had a little trick we was using, and it seemed to work.
Your class, I always, when I'm announcing, I always mention the fact how close the competition is in that Super Farm class. How it's anybody's pull with the group of guys that you pull with in there. It's anybody's night in that class. I mean, the competition's so close. Compare it now to then. I mean, was it as close, the competition back when you first started, as it is now?
For most of us, yes. Norm Gavan always seemed like he always had the edge on us for quite a while, and we finally closed the gap. a couple times. Back in '95, I closed the gap on him, and then it took me till around we won the championship in 13. Just different combinations on the motor and cams and heads and stuff we learned. And now, like you said, it's anybody. I mean, it's really hard to tell track position, number. I mean, it's very easy to get first and it's very easy to get last. That deal.
Yeah, the competition is pretty tight in there. You got Weisenkamp and you got Red Rock. You got Chad and Brady on the Bruley buck, of course. I mean, they had a really good year this year. Is Chad there with you, by the way, or is he at home?
He's at home.
Okay.
Yeah, he's at home. They left me all by myself to fend with you guys. So
you mentioned Whitewright there as a poll you'd went to several years ago. We sent you back to Whitewright this year. You had a pretty good weekend down there. Josh was down there announcing, but I threw one of those videos up from Whitewright there to start the show. But Texas is pretty good to you this year.
Yeah, Texas. We changed some stuff. We went down there and it worked. We like going down there. I mean, if they invite us down, great. If they don't, that's fine. I mean, it's just a fun place to go pull. I mean, it's a really nice arena. I mean, a lot of people, good place to park, easy to get in and out of. It's one of those pulls you don't have any trouble driving to.
Yeah. Anybody you used to pull with that we'd recognize some of the names? I noticed you mentioned Norm Cavan there. It's kind of interesting to hear some of the names of some of the people that some of the legends have pulled with over the years. We pulled a lot of them. Back in the day, we pulled with I pulled against Don Masterson and Miller out of Dubuque, Iowa. Just about all the Super Farm guys. I went to Toma, I went to Bowling Green. They all pulled, a lot of the Super Farm guys you'll see in other ranks now. You just different classes. Back when we started the Outlaws in '98, there was only light supers, Super Farm, and heavy supers and pro stocks. That's the only 4 tractors classes we had. So, and we had way too many Super Farm. I think one time we had 42 at one hook. Wow.
Yeah, it was that one summer. It was pretty crazy. You'd go there an hour later, still pulling the same class. Well, that's not a real high entertainment value. So Doug come up with Robert. He come up with some different classes, and a lot of the guys that we used to pull with pulled in classes. I mean, there's many. The Hoffman's pull this unlimited super stock. Guy out in Nebraska with the black little tractor, unlimited super. Little skinny guy, I can't think of his name. He used to pull Super Farm, the Sluters. We pulled the Sluters a lot back in the day. Went to Kansas Sweep. You ever heard about that?
Yeah.
That was probably the funnest time we ever had tractor pulling that was legal.
I hear that a lot about the Kansas Sweep.
It was something very unique. It was very unique. We had 3 classes: us, the pro 4x4 pickup guys, and the pro stock guys. And we went on. First one was like a 5-day, and then the next one was like 7 days. The next year was like 9. And the killer year was 11 pulls in 13 days in 4 different states.
Wow!
I'm not sure how we went from Chickasha, Oklahoma to Washington, Missouri, and called it the Kansas Sweep, but that's what we did. Left Winfield, Kansas, and drove clear across the state of Kansas, Missouri, to next night pulled at Washington, Missouri. Scott Holgrew, there you go. Scott Holgrew was the other guys. So sometimes the name. Go ahead.
Asking if the Haugs ever pulled Super Farm.
Yes, we pulled against Elmer. Yeah, absolutely. Back in Bush days, he had that elk call. It's still, I'm sure, a version of that. His Big Temptation.
Yeah.
And then they called the Little Temptation, and he ran a little 3x3 Charger, and you couldn't catch him. He just had us whooped bad.
Huh.
That alcohol that is outran our tractors. By the time we get close, he actually admitted to us later. He said, "Yeah," he says, "when you got close, I just turned the wick up a little bit," and he said, "I could get by you." Yeah.
Somebody's saying that at the 50th National Farm Machinery Show, Lee Greenwood took pictures with you and your tractor.
Well, he was going to perform the live song that night, and we was going to the arena, and I was like fifth or sixth hook that night, and I got inside the door and they shut it. Well, we went down on the floor to get announced, and introduced and all that. Well, in the meantime, he was back there, and somebody took a picture of my tractor that was sitting there. That's how that got happened. It was just my tractor was the one sitting in the door, and he stood beside and took a picture.
Yeah,
I have no idea who took it.
Cool.
Yeah,
I was there that year for that show, and it was kind of a surprise to have Lee Greenwood come in there. They were pretty tight-lipped about him being there. It was kind of a surprise when he came out and did the national anthem. So that was pretty cool.
We heard rumor of it that night when we got there that he was coming out. So just have some patience. He's going to come walking down the track, and that was pretty nice. That was a very good tribute to the machinery show.
Yeah, I was texting back and forth with one Dave Bennett that night before the show, and he said, "Yeah, they had a special singer there that night." He wouldn't tell me who was coming out, so he was keeping it a secret even. So, Josh, turn it over to you for a second. I got to do something here real quick.
Uh-oh.
So, Alan, you've got the 5 Outlaw championships. You've got the win at Louisville. We try to ask everybody, what is your highlight moment? What is your big one that sticks out in your mind?
Oh, I have to say Louisville.
Louisville?
Yeah, you're pulling against, probably some of the best tractors you're ever going to pull against, and they're all in one building. That to get that was very special. Yes.
Any stories from behind the scenes at Louisville you want to share? Any wild moments or things that somebody may not know that's happened out there for you?
Not really.
Yeah, already got the Lee Greenwood story. That's quite a story in itself. So, I guess the other one that goes kind of hand in hand with that question, if you could pull, whether tractor, truck, any vehicle, any association, any period in time, what would be your dream ride?
Oh, I guess being a decent guy, like get on somebody's big pro stock and give that a whirl. I think that'd be fun. You just don't sit on a 4,000 plus horsepower tractor very often. So as long as they owned it and built it, I wouldn't mind driving it.
Well, you never know. It could definitely happen one day. I think anybody would trust their equipment with you, but.
Have you ever been on anything other than tractors that you've owned? Like took a ride on something like a pro stock or something?
Well, back in the day, the Outlaws had a winter series. Maybe you know that or not. They actually had a winter series. We pulled in a few pulls down the winter. And that was in, I think, around 97 or 98. I went with Doug Roberts down to Baton Rouge, Louisiana. And that's when we had the Barnyard Beast, was on alcohol. Mm-hmm. And he let me drive it indoor Baton Rouge, Louisiana, and they had a tractor pull. And last thing I remember telling me was, if you're going to make a full pull out, you got to go through the right gate or the left gate. He says, all the way to get out of here. So I picked the right one, went through that hole, and stuck the front end inside that gate. And that was... Alcohol's a little different driving than a diesel. It's like an electric motor to me. You push the gas, and all of a sudden you're wide open. There's no in between. There's pretty responsive.
When it comes all the way up.
I got scared and pulled the damn throttle back, and I shoved it back ahead. He walks up and goes, "Boy, you did a hell of a job double throttle that." I said, "Bullshit, I was scared." I said, that wasn't by purpose. That was by accident. That's all that was.
Worked out nonetheless for you.
Yeah, it helped.
Go ahead, Al.
It helped me get hooked up. I'll put it that way.
Reading a comment here, Kevin Miller
Yep.
said Alan's a class act. Remember pulling against him in the tri-state days.
Oh yeah.
The Spoo brothers.
Yep.
Might be misspelling. Came up from Kansas. Jeff Demers was pulling Super Farm in the early Outlaw days. John Hoffman, when kids were young, with his Mark 50 Magnum. Kim Jocelyn in the group as well, said it was a lot of fun.
Yeah, that was back in the days when we were, I suppose, early 2000s. During that time frame. Yep.
Where's your favorite place to pull? Of anywhere you've ever pulled? Favorite location, favorite track?
For me, it's pretty easy. Hinton, Iowa, when they had the pull there. When I was a kid, we go down there, and we've been going to Hinton, Iowa for many, many years and pulling the local farm stuff, and then we got into the other. I just said, man, it'd be fun to come over top of that hill one time and roll down there. And I don't think I remembered anybody after we went over that hill. We got down in there, and it was different. You sit in the stands and watch, but you actually pull down the pits down that hole. It was, and back then there was like 5,000-6,000 people there. It was crazy.
Wow.
But that was probably the most memorable pull I've ever been to, and I like to pull at. Yep.
Okay. Whoa.
Hello, Ron.
Hi.
Alan, I mean, you would be on, I'm sure, many, many people's list nowadays of, I don't know if you want to call it mentors or people that they looked up to throughout their career. Who were some of your inspirations in pulling? Who'd you pay attention to back when you were younger?
Oh boy. Well, back in the day, we had our state association, I guess, all the Almer boys, kind of got friends with them, and still today we are. I mean, we're good friends with the Almers. They help me out quite a bit. We talk all the time. Mark and Alan, they make stuff for me all the time. They always got something over there making it. Whether it be intake pipes or intake different or something, or we just have them. They just do it. Had a bad crank one time, took it over there, and they helped me get the dang thing back in. And them guys were the ones that probably, that's when Mark was doing the big Grand National stuff. Pretty big deal around here. Then somebody out in the Grand National circuit.
Yeah.
Guys, they're probably some influence on the whole deal. Yep.
So what does the future hold for the Alan Andrews? Where's the future going to take us? How you going to be around for another 15, 20 years? What's your thoughts on all that?
Well, Mother Nature might have something to do with some of this, but we'll probably pull as long as we can. Yep. Yep. I think that's kind of the plan. Matter of fact, we got them out in the shed all tore apart, trying to get ready for next year.
Any ambitions on stepping up a class or anything? Are you liking the super farm or?
Well, for us, there's a lot going on around here. I mean, like a lot of my friends that pull, we all farm, and you got stuff on the farm you got to take care of, and time away, that's kind of the big thing. And a lot of our pulls within, 150, 200 miles, you can get to about 90% of our hooks. And if you had to, you'd come home that day, We don't do that much anymore. We just kind of stick around and have a good time afterward. But it's basically location and convenience of pulling. During June, we got spraying going on, and we got a hog barn, and, just stuff always going on. And you get in July and August, you get a little free time. Then we don't mind traveling, I guess we're going to Colorado this year. But that's kind of our vacation during that late July, early August. There's a lot of hooking going on then. And boy, that gets over, you're getting ready to go back to farming, and get ready to, so it's just the location, what we got, and the people we pull with. I don't see myself moving, no.
Well, good. Sounds like you found something that really fits you well and fits into your schedule really good. So,
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's Super Farm Division. I mean, when you think of Super Farm, you think of, Outlaws. It's you think Alan Andrews and the Dakota Deer. Honestly, you've been there since the beginning, and you had so much good success there with your tractor, and then your son's been pulling with you, both sons actually, Chad and Brady. How long has Chad been pulling in Super Farm?
He's been doing since he's 16 years old. He actually drove back in the Kansas sweep days. I let him drive a few times. And then, I don't know, like anything, you get busy and got married and all that. And then
Right.
My cousin actually had this tractor. The other tractor was my cousin owned it. And there was just time for him to move on. So we bought it. And another friend of mine bought half of it. Leonard Paulson in town and Dan Teal. They are John Deere guys, and they actually taught me a lot how to work on a John Deere motor, and they're mechanics, so they taught me how to do everything, basically. And then we kind of got into it and pulling with both of them, and Leonard kind of backed out and said, I'm going to do something else because I had great fun. He said, I'm just going to do, I think he took up golf. He golfs a lot now. And so the boys and I just started taking it over, and it's kind of a second tractor. We didn't do a lot of good stuff to it, I'll call it. And then the last couple, 3 years, we really kind of, whatever's on one's on the other. They ain't always the same, but we got close enough that we can play with them. We learn back and forth. That's kind of our own teachers, on the track, it helps gearing, weight, so. But
Yeah,
I see
that tractor was had a really good season with Chad and Brady filling in for Chad a few times there this summer. I actually finished a couple points ahead of you this summer in the third spot, where you wound up in fourth, but. Yeah, those guys are on the right track. It seems like you've got them on the right track with that Bruley Buck tractor.
Yeah, they had a little different setup in our Super Farm setup, and it matched up better with this Charger, which taught us some about the different setups. But their setup is a little different than mine, and it really helped us learn over the summer. It was a learning curve for all the Super Farm guys because we're not used to that big turbo and all that. So I think you'll notice next year that the class will be better and probably have a little more horsepower than last year. Just for whatever you learned, just by driving them and what you did, and so yeah, it's going to be a little bit. Yep.
Experimenting a little bit. Yeah, you'd mentioned something at Gibbon to me. After the pull, you'd got yours figured out. I don't want to ask you any secrets, Alan, but you said you had it figured out and you had it back to form where it was winning years prior. So, what you have going on there? What'd you figure out?
It was all in fuel timing.
Fuel timing.
Yep. Set a fuel pump. Yep. We played around with it. We first got started, wasn't sure where he's at. We had a different fuel pump on than we used to. And we played the pump, and we finally found the spot that it seemed like it liked it more so than before. And we go to a dyno just to kind of get raw numbers. We do a lot of playing with them during the summertime. Back in 16, 17, 18, and 19, once we got it dialed in, we didn't touch it much then. They always accused me of playing with it, but actually in 16, we did the same thing. We took off that summer, and we got out to David City, Nebraska. And we changed the fuel timing again, and it really woke it up. Then we never touched it for 3-4 years, really. We just let it play.
Can you see the comment on the screen, Alan?
Yep.
From Curtis. Said, remember when you pulled in Pierce, Nebraska with a 4440 time tractor? That early 90s, I think he's saying there. Said he rode down in a semi and you come down in a Ford pickup truck down to the pool there at Pierce. You remember that?
Yep, that's the same tractor. Up in the same. Yeah, we pulled down in Pierce. I think about every town in Nebraska we had a tractor pull. I think we've been there one time or another.
And there's a lot of them too, I'm sure.
Yeah. We went a lot of pulls every summer.
So you pulled with other organizations besides Outlaws. Somebody mentioned Tri-State. And you mentioned Bush. Any other organizations you pulled with?
Well, I guess the NTPA is where we all pulled at before the Outlaws came around. I mean, that's the only thing was around.
Right.
Yeah, we pulled Tri-State. That ended up being I can't think of the name of it right now. But it's still going. Still got an association here. Northwest Iowa, we pulled them some. Nebraska Bush. I think we pulled out in Central Iowa, but I don't know if there's any certain association. One of the flag guys, Phil, I took his name. He actually put that on. Then we pulled out there in Central Iowa some.
Okay.
When we pulled on Missouri State Fair, there was 20 associations in Missouri, I believe. Back in the day, when you went to Missouri State Fair, you had to go to the Dodge Arena. And then you qualified there to get in front of grandstands on Monday night. And we did that with the Pro Stock back then. We actually pulled Pro Stock down there then for a year or so. Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, that was the arena back over in the corner.
Yep. They call it, well, I can't remember, they call it something else now, but it used to be Dodge Arena.
Yeah.
And they pull there. You'd go there at 2:00 in the morning. They're still pulling. I don't know how many associations there was there, but it must have been 20, if not 25. It was crazy. It was tired of sardine to can in there. You couldn't get around nothing. I mean, you had to squeeze through and get out, and you might pull at 2:00 in the afternoon. You might pull at 10:00 at night. You didn't know. I mean, it was that separates you out, and then you got to go to the if you got it face high enough, you get to go into the pull that night over next night at in front of the ring grandstands. Yep. So
in pulling over the years since you've been pulling, I mean, what the biggest change? Something that had the biggest effect on pulling could be on the tractor, on how it pulled. Could be tires, something performance related, but anything in your mind that stands out that was a big change for your class?
The biggest change I think that happened for everybody was the roll cage. The safety roll cage. That seemed to change the tractors from, you look at them now when they don't have a cage on them, and you look at them when they do, it looks more professional. I mean, just like it brought the tractors into a different level compared to what we used to look like, you know. Of course, your little fuel pumps got better, the turbos got better, you know. Tires, there's a lot of choices of tires. They all seem to add up, but the roll cage seemed to be the biggest actual looking at a tractor and seeing that nice cage on there and safety. Safety with the roll cage is probably the biggest step that pulling made, period, for a long time. That, in my opinion, I mean, it just made everything look more professional.
Added 100 visual horsepower right there, huh?
Well, it did. I mean, you go back and look at the old days, and guys sat out there and they got thrown off and a seatbelt around them. You know, it was pretty crazy. Guys fly off the tractor and land on the ground. You know, they don't happen anymore.
Yeah, I've seen it happen. I saw it happen in McLeod, Kansas, back in the 90s, actually.
Yep.
Saw a guy get thrown off. He ended up winning the class. I can't remember the guy's name, but threw him right over the front. It was bouncing pretty hard towards the end of the track, and last bounce threw him right over the hood, and he went to the hospital, won the class, and it's pretty scary to see that happen. But yeah, it's definitely improved the safety, and I think it adds some professionalism, shows we're serious about safety and things.
It does.
Wasn't a whole lot of it in the early days. I mean, you see the pictures from the old days of T-shirts and shorts and a ball cap, and that was about it, you know.
Yeah, you might even see the beverage on the fender at one time if you had the right pull. Yeah, it was a little bit open at one time. Yes, I think when you got rid of the narrow fronts and, you know, some of that stuff, that everything kind of evolved into safety part of it really is the biggest change. I think is just more safety stuff. And you get on a tractor nowadays. Well, you drove one this summer. You know, you drove Andrews. You get in, you felt very comfortable, very safe, very. You know, you weren't worried about tipping the tractor or you weren't about getting hurt. You know, back in the day, you jump on them, and I seen you call it the oil pan bolts. You know, tractor so high in the air, and down they come, and you know, then the wheel bars came into effect. I mean, all that changed. You know, since we first started pulling. You know, there was no such thing as a wheelie bar or safety blankets. You know, you've seen mini tractors split in half. Just the safety aspect with the roll cages and what we're doing now, I just think it makes it look a lot more professional. And you know, I see a lot of crews got their shirts now. It just looks more professional than it did back in the day.
Yo, Alan, on aesthetics and looks of things, I wanted to comment. The videos Jason was playing before we started, I noticed that you guys mount your GoPro either to your left or right inside the roll cage. To me, that's just a fantastic video angle. You see quite a few onboard shots anymore, but it's always right on the front of the roll cage, up top or whatever. I love the angle that you guys use for your onboard. It just adds a whole new perspective to somebody watching the video. You feel like you're literally sitting in the cage with you.
Are you?
Yeah, well, that's not really that's kind of by accident on our side. If you don't remember, I'm not very tall and I can't reach very far, so I put it close. I turned the dumb thing on.
It was a good accident. It adds a great angle to it. I would never change it.
Well, otherwise you gotta, you know, have somebody come up there and turn it on, and one of my pet peeves of pulling is you're in the pits, you're sitting there and you're watching the tractor pull, and then somebody gets up beside the tractor and has a 5-minute conversation with the driver and he hooks the sled. Like,
yeah,
gee whiz, you know, let's get going. I mean, same thing, going out and turn a camera on or something. You know, get that stuff done so you get the show rolling. That's a pet peeve of mine. I just like, you ain't gonna tell him nothing in 5 seconds he hasn't been talking about for an hour. I mean, what the hell? It ain't gonna change.
You know, one other thing I would ask, you being of our Legends series, we talked to the young guns. Ron's been talking to them for weeks on end. And not just the young guns, but maybe there's somebody out there watching this that's considering getting into pulling. What's some advice you would give to a new puller or some of the young guns?
Oh, really the best advice that I used a lot of time was listen to the older guys. Listen to the people that are pulling against. I see Mark was just on, you know, watch what Mark does or myself or somebody and understand what they're doing and ask questions. The young gun, don't be scared to ask a question. If you don't know it, ask. Worst they do is tell anything and talk to you. You know, and when you get done pulling, don't go sit in your trailer and do not go watch tractor pulling. You'll learn a lot just sitting on the track. And if nothing else, sometimes just close your eyes. And you can hear tractors and hear noises that you can't hear and see at the same time. We do that a lot. Just sit there and sometimes just close your eyes and listen. And you can tell if a motor's running. You know, and watch the guy ahead of you. Watch the track. You know, that's learn how to read a track. I'll say, why do you side jack? Probably the best track reader I know. He'll find that track somewhere. It don't matter where it's at, but he sneaks over and he finds it somehow, and that's because he's watching all the time. He ain't sleeping over there, you know. I used to like pulling behind them guys because I knew if Whitey went down there, it's probably a pretty good spot to go. So we kind of paid attention. You pick somebody out that is a good track reader, you know, that you pull ahead and you pull with a lot. And just be observant which around your surroundings while you're there. You learn a lot. If you get done, go sit in the trailer and, you know, kick back and don't go watch nothing. To me, you lose out. I get probably much fun on track pulling as I get done, especially for an early class, just to sit there and just watch the different vehicles down there and what they're doing and how their tires are reacting and how the track changes. And if you got a 2-day hook, sometimes you pick a tip up, you know, that gets you.
Yep. Speaking of the young guns, anyone in your class in the Super Farm division who you think is somebody to watch, somebody that you may even be watching, thinking, this guy or this gal is going to be right in there in the mix here pretty soon in the next couple of years? Anybody in there that you think is up and coming and is going to be right there in the mix next season?
Yeah, the John Deere, Jared Johansson. That's yep, Tim Lotman's old tractor, and I pulled in Tim Lotman a lot, Super Farm. Tim is always a good puller, good balance. Even today, he don't go all the time, but when he shows up, he's somebody to pull against and contend with. I think that's one of our newer tractors. Not basically all hard to watch. You got to watch them all, but first year out, never driving a pulling tractor. Got very close to winning one. To me, that's quite accomplishing the first year out. I mean, I think next year he gets a little more seat time. He's going to be more consistent and harder to beat. Yeah, I think he's going to be the one that's going to be as troublesome as the rest of them guys. How's that sound?
He had a pretty rough go after Gibbon, I'll tell you that. Jared did. Lord, I passed him twice, broke down on the way to West Point. And he still made it in there to pull. So, yeah, he's a pretty devoted puller. He's enjoying it.
I think you tell him we were going to pull in Alaska, he'd be the first one there, is all I can tell you. As of right now, yeah, he's a good asset to our class. Yep. The white tractor is another tractor that really made some gains over the summer. Which we're very, very good, glad for the team. They're really good guys, and they've been middle pack, and they know it. And this year, towards the end, they was right up in there. I mean, doing some really nice pulls with that white. Yep.
Bryce Brummett says Big A and Jimmy Brackett have forgot more than most will ever learn. The knowledge you guys have about pulling.
Yeah, I kind of forgot. I never mentioned Jimmy, but I spent a lot of time down at Jimmy's house too. He taught me a lot. Doug Roberts helped me out a lot. Along with the Ulmers, we all them guys been around pulling long time. My tractor actually was in Jimmy's bracket shop for one winter. We worked on it down there. Learning, kind of on our own and kind of helped each other out. And Jimmy did a lot. A really good friend of mine. Yep.
Mark Ulmer chimed in there a few minutes ago and said good evening and said you're always a class act, way back to the South Dakota pulling days, and he agreed about Hinton being a great place to pull as well.
Yep. And that was back in the South Dakota State tractor pulling station. Yep. We all pulled there together. We pulled South Dakota State Fair. I actually promoted the South Dakota State Fair for 2 years. Me and Gary Whiff.
Yeah.
We put it on as NTPA 1 year and Outlaw pull the next year. And our year we had in the Outlaw side, we got rained out. But yeah, we actually promoted the South Dakota State Fair for a couple of years, trying to keep that going.
Excuse me. Alan, in March we're doing the Cowtown Showdown. There's a few people pushing to get the Super Farm class in there. Would you be coming down there?
Oh yeah, I imagine. One thing about a Super Farm, they seem to kind of trail wherever the tractor pulls at. They don't, our class don't complain much about traveling. Usually they get on the truck and away they go if they're ready.
There you go. I know Jared is pretty excited. He's wanting to get the Super Farms in there in Kansas City. So yeah, he's
I told you he'd go to Alaska if we had a pull too. So I remember the sources out here now. Let's not get too carried away.
I believe it. The things we're doing right now with the Outlaws and promoting on social media and such and pushing our young guns. I mean, where do you see tractor pulling going? I mean, things have changed over the years. I mean, there's no doubt with the next up and coming generations, with social media and what do you think we need to do to reach out to folks to get people, get butts in the seats at tractor pulls?
Wow, that's a lot of question one day. I think you go in a very good direction with that Heartland series. I really think just if you look around, me and Dave Nelson talked about it here a couple of years ago when he first come back. We had quite a conversation for a couple hours on the phone. I was out planting. We talking and we talking about Oklahoma, Josh in the southern area, and we was talking about not Cape Girardeau, no. That's a long way. That's almost where nobody travels anymore down there, buddy. But the Heartland series, you get your feet wet with that. I really think you got a good handle on where that's going. If we're going to expand, like we probably could, it'd be nice to get a couple more series like that down south and out east, and tie it with the Outlaws and just broaden our umbrella, but keep it so we don't. You know what I mean? Just don't try to saturate what we're doing.
Yeah.
That's so I think you're gonna need some Heartland type series to help us out. That's just kind of my opinion. I think there's some really good opportunities out there. The boys, they'll figure it out. They got it under control, and you're helping them out. But I think to me that's kind of the future. If you're gonna grow like we're growing and keep everything under control, is to get some other parts of the country involved under the Outlaws, and I believe it would expand. Our world would expand that way. And then of course, social media don't hurt nothing. I mean, don't really know how. Every guy don't even know about tractor pull. The next guy can't get enough of it. So it's a big spectrum where you're looking at.
Yeah, it's definitely a tool that we're using to try to reach out to the next upcoming generations. But just to clarify, do I need to take Super Farms out of Cape Girardeau then for 2022?
I don't think unless the schedule changed. I didn't see him in there.
Yeah, Omer, he had a little trouble getting down there, I think, is his complaint about.
Yeah, he sure does.
He almost didn't make it.
I think we're to get back to Spencer, I think.
Bryce Brummett chimed in again. He's wanting to know who makes the best biscuits and gravy in Southwest Missouri. He said Ummel wants to know.
Well, Mr. Ummel probably his big frying pan on that. We're doing the Kansas sweep deal. We came from no. Well, I was trying to help me think of the town. Not Springfield. The one, the big town on 44. We used to have a banquet there.
Jeff City, maybe.
Springfield.
What is it?
Springfield, Nebraska.
Oh,
yeah, I think that's where it's at. Springfield, Missouri. Yep.
Yeah, Missouri.
Yep. We came back from Washington, Missouri to Springfield, Missouri. We was going to pull up in Kansas, and we sat down at Just Shop, and we had biscuits and gravy, and that was pretty good. Yeah, all a bunch of us stopped there. Must have been 15 trucks, I guess. We all stayed overnight there, and got morning. He cooked us biscuits and gravy, and me being from up north, I probably ate a lot of grits and biscuits and gravy before. It's not in our menu in this part of the world.
It's not. You know that I love grits, and you don't see them too much up here. People kind of look at you a little funny when you ask for grits.
You ought to know too. What the hell is grits?
Well, it's corn, isn't it?
Well, you're eating it. I don't know. You tell the story, buddy.
Well, it's great with eggs. I know that.
You don't know what it is, but it's good. Josh, you don't like grits and gravy, don't you?
What's that?
I love this. I love
don't
grits.
You know grits? Yeah, don't you know?
Yeah.
Huh?
We eat them all the time down here. Grits, gravy. What is it?
Hey, what is grits?
Don't get me lying to you. Good eating's all I can tell you.
See, don't none of you know what's in it, but you eat it. I never heard of it.
I just had some last week, like 4 days ago. I was down in Florida, and they had grits. I saw it on the menu, and I said, "Heck yeah!" And I had to get some.
But you weren't sure what it was.
Maybe one of those things, Alan, you don't want to know. You never can tell, you know.
You might be right. It might be a part of the cow or pig you don't want to eat, but that's might be.
Well, maybe here in the next year or two, we'll get you back down here to Chickasha with that super farm.
Yeah, you never know. Yep. If it works out. Yeah.
The research department just brought this up here. Grits is a porridge made from boiled cornmeal. Hominy grits is a type of grits made from hominy, corn that is treated with an alkali in a process called nixtamalization. So, boiled cornmeal.
Okay.
I think that translates to good eating, right?
A little butter, some pepper, and good over easy runny eggs. Perfect.
Yeah. I don't know how we got the grits and gravy tractor pull. We made it.
You never know what's going to happen on here, Alan.
Absolutely not. That's the kind of makes this part of the world fun. We meet different people, and both you guys are. I'm going to call you newbies compared to some of us old guys been around forever. I'm sure you're seeing some things that you've never thought you'd see in tractor pull world. You ever did a dance out and giving the branch in the trailer with a little bitty jukebox before? I think Ron's done that last year.
That you were proud of that little jukebox there. He's playing some.
Well, so you're trying to steal it from me. Remember that? You're trying to chime into it and get your country and western music on there.
Yeah,
you didn't like the rock and roll stuff we'd listen to. Yeah, that's fine.
Oh goodness.
So now Elmer's telling on you a little bit here. So maybe need a little red beer to go with the grits.
I have no problem with red beer. That's sometimes pretty tasty. Yes, it is.
That was another staple on the Kansas sweep, I take it.
No, just 3:00 in the morning is pretty stable on a, you ever been in Kansas during the summertime, which you have been, you live down there, but usually between about noon and 6:00, you didn't see nobody walk around. It's too darn hot down there. We just all stayed in the trailers, but boy, about 3:00 in the morning, it was pretty nice out. That was a lot of fun, that Kansas sweep. That was a good time.
Hot and windy. You forgot to mention that. That hot wind is enjoyable.
Yep. That's something you blew every day. It seemed like 20, 30 miles an hour and about 100 degrees out. Yeah, it was I think you could, if you name all the people on, you talk to them and everybody just smiled, you say Kansas sweep if you've been on it, because it was one of a kind deal that'll probably never happen again.
Yeah, I've heard a lot about it. All the pullers that I've talked to that were pulling then all talk highly about that Kansas sweep, how much fun it was. Bryce Brummett chime, you reading this, Alan, about you putting on your helmet, strapping into the tractor, getting ready for a tornado in Diamond, Missouri. Was this before?
We were down in Diamond, Missouri. I don't remember year. We was pulling down there, and a storm come by. We was in there watching on TV, and I remembered my awning was still out. So I said, let's get the awning in. By the time we got out there and grabbed that awning, the wind took it, and I said, get indoors. And I thought, Chad thought I said, run for the cornfield, and I had to chase him down and bring him back. Yeah, they went through a rain all night, and you know how tough a rain all night can be.
Mm-hmm.
Justin's asking for any good Western sweep stories. I think we're telling some right now. So
I was just saying, I don't think Justin's been paying attention. We've had them going for the last 10 minutes here.
So, Alan, anybody
the Western sweep was.
Go ahead.
Western sweep was different than Kansas sweep. The Western sweep used to be Ottawa, Carroll, Hinton, and Boone, Iowa. That was the Western sweep.
Okay.
Four nights, full Poland. Yep.
Yeah,
there was that was another good time.
We've got a little sweep going through Iowa this summer that we're going to be promoting once we get the schedule all cinched up and solidified here. That's starting, that Britt Wednesday night in Britt, and it goes through Saturday night. We've got all Iowa pulls through that week there, Wednesday through Saturday. So one Missouri pull in there as well. So a lot of pulls on the schedule coming up this summer. Alan, you've seen a little bit of that schedule. You know what I'm talking about. It's going to be a busy summer.
Yeah, there you go. Read that there. I was talking about the awning. I was talking about the awning because it was starting to take us away with the wind blowing so hard. So I said, let it go. And next thing he took off running for the cornfield, and I had to go chase him down. Get over here.
How old was he at that time?
Oh, I don't know, 14 maybe, somewhere in that area. He probably could answer that. I don't know for sure.
So throughout your career, Alan, I mean, could have been when you first started, could have been any time in your career, and anybody, that you'd like to thank that's helped you out over the years?
Well, I kind of mentioned a lot of them. The owner, Jimmy Brackett, Doug Roberts, Riverside, them guys did a lot for me. Didn't know much actually when we first started. Kid off the farm, didn't know all that stuff. And Dan Teal and Leonard Paulson come out of the John Deere back in the early days and working down the old shop with a fan on 100 degrees, trying to get the dumb thing together. They're the ones that, that was around when we asked a question. Like, oh, don't be scared to ask a question. Never get an answer otherwise. They're the ones they worked with that, from, I don't know, build a motor to airflow to whatever. And, if you got a question, ask any of them guys. They'll give you a good answer.
Robert Miner's asking, what's the hardest track to pull on, I guess, that you ever pulled on? Maybe the trickiest track, maybe?
Imperial, Kansas. No matter what gear you put in, you choked it. That thing was, for some, just like glue. Never run to a track like it again. You'd take off down there, and that was, I don't know what we were doing in Imperial, Kansas. We was pulling down there. And you go down there, and every tractor, about every class, just died. It was the stickiest I've seen in my life.
Huh. So what was the dirt? Was it black dirt and clay, or?
It was kind of a clay dirt. It didn't look that sticky, but boy, you get down there and it just choked every one of us, just like that. Another track that did it this year was Concord. Okay. And Mobile both had really good tracks. Wisner's probably one of the tricky ones to figure out. It's got that sand and all that with it. Wisner is hard to figure out for us. We've had success there, but overall, Wisner took a while to figure out that track.
How about the Iowa State Fair this season? That one was.
That don't count. That's brand new. We won't go there.
It'll come around.
You got to give them guys hats off. They got a nice facility now. That's going to be a really nice pool to be at. I'm glad you're back in the Iowa State Fair. Way better than the old days. You drive through the crowd. Now you can get in and out pretty easy. That's going to be up and coming real good pull. Yeah. They'll get the dirt right. It's brand new. They missed it a little this year, but the only thing is you all pulling the same dirt. Yep. So what you complain about?
That's exactly right. I was getting ready to go there. So.
Yep.
Well, Alan, appreciate you coming on tonight, taking the time out of your evening. Been great talking with you and reminiscing and seeing some of your buddies commenting on some of the memories there throughout your career. So appreciate Josh coming on and helping me out tonight as well. But Alan, we'll see you around next summer. Did you have anything you wanted to add here tonight?
Just thanks for having me on, and I don't know what a legend is, but I don't know if we qualify yet. But I'm glad you put me in that category. I'm very, very proud to be on here with you guys. Kind of humbling, really.
I think you qualify. I think when you think Super Farm with Outlaws, you'd be off the mark if you didn't mention Alan Andrews. So
kind of hard to have those thoughts and not thank Alan Andrews for sure,
and a Dakota Deer for sure.
So, well, yeah, They're all long in dirt, not quite long in some, but I think if you look at the register, I'm probably the top 5 for the longest outlaw member still pulling.
Huh.
But we've been around for that long, yeah. I'm sure Whitey and Donald and Bill Overstreet. Some of the names that come to mind, Jimmy Brackett. They're still going, but after that, there's not too many. You might get in the 4-wheel drive side of it. I don't know all them gentlemen, but we've been around outlaws since we started pulling actually in Missouri State Fair in '92, and that was Carl Buckner actually ran the Outlaws back then.
Yeah,
and I think this story's true. The Outlaws, nobody really knows its beginning. The Outlaws was a truck, and a modified pulling group. Mini rod pulling group.
okay.
And it first started, I believe, if that's correct. And then they started adding tractors a little later on, back in I'm gonna say early '90s, somewhere in that time. You had to talk to somebody that was there, like the Sluters or the Doug Roberts or Jimmy Brackets that was in there more than I was. But them guys to me are the true legends. The Sluter family's been around pulling down that part of the world forever, and the Brackets and they just been there forever. Dip, I could tell you a little more about the true start of the history of the Outlaws. I could say more, but I'm not going to. But yeah, that's kind of the true start of it, and we kind of in on just pulling with them. Had nothing to do with it, basically just a tractor puller. But that's kind of how the Outlaws was called, and now it is what it is today. It changed a lot since I first started going.
Yep.
So,
Justin asked if you know anything about the Fire and Ice making a comeback.
Oh, Ronald, I don't know. I don't know about Ronald. He might. He might. I keep trying to get him to do it, but he gives me the old shoulder once in a while, like he ain't gonna talk to me. So I ain't sure how far we're getting on that deal. Fire and Ice, and that was my trailer mate back in the Western Kansas Sweep days.
Okay.
Yeah. We lost a friend, Jim Eamon. That was his cousin. We lost him this last year. He used to drive truck all the time. Yep, that was kind of a tough day for us. Yes.
Yeah.
And we pull Dewey, his dad, and I kind of forgot about the old guys like Fred Petch and Simonsons and Ricky Barrett and all them guys. They've been around as long as I have or longer. They actually are probably pulling some of that stuff before I was there. But to me, that's the guys that are the old legends that have been around forever. That
we're gonna keep this series going. We're gonna talk to as many of the legends as we can. So
there's a bunch of names just mentioned that I'm sure you probably got on your screen, but there's some guys they could give you a better history of actually how it started, and you basically know how the soup farm started. We started in '95 and on a regional level, and we're out here today, I guess.
Yeah, still making it work and competitive as ever.
Yep.
So.
It's always been that way, though.
Yeah, well, it's an enjoyable class. I enjoy watching it, and mainly because of just how competitive it is. You guys are right there. It comes down when it comes down to the last hook every season. It's a good class to watch.
Yeah. Yep. They're my buddies are all pretty tight-lipped. They don't tell you a lot either. They make you learn on your own. They don't give you a lot of clues.
I try not to ask too many of those sensitive questions, Alan, but you don't have to answer whenever I ask them. So.
Yeah, ain't nothing they don't already know.
So, Curtis is always fun to watch you pull. They have good machines. But Alan, we're gonna call it a night. It's great having you on here. I appreciate you coming on. It's some pretty cool stories about the sweeps and things and how you got started pulling. So just want to say thanks for coming on tonight.
Well, thank you for having me on here. It's an honor. Like I said, I'm just glad you gave me a call. How's that sound?
Appreciate it, Alan. Have a great night.
Been a
Yep,
lot
you
of
and
fun,
Josh.
Alan. Thank you.
We'll
Take
see you
care.
out
Have
on
a
the
good.
track.
Oh, by the way, you got to say this, Ron. Got to say Merry Christmas to everybody because we ain't supposed to say that.
Oh, you're safe with that around here, Alan. So Merry
Yeah.
Christmas
Yeah,
to you, too.
good happy New Year's to all the Outlaw friends out there that are watching, and we'll see you next year probably.
See you out on the track. Merry Christmas, Alan.
You bet.
Yeah.
Good night.
Good night.
Well, Josh,
Man, what a story right there.
yeah, some pretty cool stories that he had about the sweeps and I'm trying to figure out how to. There we go. There we go.
A lot of knowledge in that head, I guarantee you.
Yeah, a lot of. I'm trying to figure out how to not make myself so big here. So.
Well, that didn't help any.
There we go. We still got Alan on there though. There.
Hey, there you go.
We get this figured out. We got the watchful eye of Mr. Schultz watching over. We're good here.
Like awesome.
You guys still talking?
And stuff like that.
So yeah, pretty good
Yeah.
interview there.
Yeah, it was. Alan's a great guy. Talked to him at several of the shows. Just always a pleasure to be around. Doesn't matter what he's doing, always willing to talk to you. Just heck of a class act of a puller right there.
Yeah, pretty neat stories. I love hearing all those stories and seeing some of some of the guys that pulled with them, chiming in. Hey, remember this or remember that? That triggers some memories, and they start talking about it. It's pretty cool to hear some of those stories. And that Kansas sweep and the Western sweep and all those sweeps back in the day, I hear nothing but good things about how fun and how cool those were back in the day. So
yeah, it was Concord this year, I think it was. After the show was over, I was able to go down and visit with them guys for just a little bit. And you definitely got to watch. You get around that group after a pull. You may have to ride your pants legs up a little bit to keep them dry, but a lot of fun. They probably had 25 people sitting there in a circle just having a good time telling stories. So
yeah, it's a good time. Omer still, he's Mark Omer's telling Alan to have fun down in Cape. I think we got light supers down there again, Mark. Just saying, they liked you so much down there, they want you to come back. So I was a pretty good haul for them. Cape Girardeau was way down there in the southeast corner of Missouri.
that's a good haul for just about everybody.
Yeah. So, well, Josh, how's Chickasha looking for next year?
Man, Chickasha is looking good. We've been doing a lot of talk with our sponsors. Got a lot of our sponsors back from last year. We've added some new ones. We've added a couple of classes. Right now, we're up to 5 classes for this year. It's going to turn out to be a good show, I think. We're 2 days. Just going to turn out really good this year. Doing everything I can to grow it as big as possible. So
now you said 5 classes. You got 4 of those are outlaw classes, right?
4 outlaw classes and then some diesel pickups coming up out of the state of Texas. We may be incorporating the outlaw diesel pickups in 23.
Okay.
I would have them this year, but I'd already made the commitment to those guys. And unfortunately, they run a little bit different rule package, so they can't come up and run with the outlaw pickups, or we would just bring everybody. But I made the commitment to them shortly after the show before we had even decided for sure we were going to have our diesel pickup class. And so we're going to go ahead and bring them guys up and run them and bring in, looks like we're going to have the Pro Stock 4x4s down. And you never know, possibly even add another class before it's all said and done.
Okay. Well, good deal.
So,
good deal.
Just trying to grow at leaps and bounds, man.
Yeah, you went from 1 night to 2 nights, adding classes. Yeah, it sounds great. Yeah, it's going to be a busy summer for all.
Still got the end goal here within 3 to 5 years to have our own pulling venue here. The fairgrounds is great. It's great being tied in with the fair. I do have limitations being there. So I would like to, within, like I say, 3 to 5 years, have a venue on the equivalency of, say, a White Wright or a Wisner where we've got the acreage for pits and stands, and maybe even go to 2 shows a year. You just never know what's going to happen around here.
That would be pretty cool.
So
It'd be pretty cool. So, all right, buddy. Well, been a great night. Thanks
It
for
has.
coming on and helping out. I know she got the background there going. That's pretty cool. You got we'll have to get you a Case IH banner.
yeah, there you go.
Down there so you can.
Yeah, I was digging through some stuff, and I had been wanting to kind of build my little office here for a while anyway, and I thought what a better use of some of the stickers I had left from this year than to throw them up, make a background for our sponsors. You know, then none of this ever happens without them. So
Exactly.
get them thrown up there and represent a little bit.
All right, buddy. Well, I'm going to call it a night.
Thanks.
Been a great show.
It has. Thanks for having me on. Been a great year. Merry Christmas to everybody
Merry
watching.
Christmas. Merry Christmas to you and yours as well.
Yep,
Can't
same
wait
to
to
you guys.
already, but yeah. So
no doubt.
Next Tuesday we'll be talking about all the good things we got for Christmas and
Yeah.
talking about the new year. So
You know, we're sitting here right now going, can't believe Christmas is here. Just
yeah.
think it's going to be 3 or 4 months, and we're going to be, well, next week we open the season.
Yeah, it'll be here.
Yeah.
It'll be here before you know it. And Schultz will still be waiting on his tractor.
Guaranteed.
He can hear us. I can see him peeking in there.
Uh-huh.
I have a closet in the guest bedroom full of.
Yeah.
Be nice,
He'll be
it's
waiting on his
Christmas.
tractor, and I'll be waiting on Remedy beer.
Merry Christmas. Are we done? Are we done?
Yeah, I have a closet.
Guys, have a good night. Merry Christmas to y'all.
Oh, nice.
Thanks, Josh. Appreciate it.
Bring them out here.
Bye.
Jason, Merry Christmas to you and yours, buddy.
See you next week, guys.
See you next Tuesday.
All right.